My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare. Now, I'm not one to lose hope. I keep on hoping. I still have faith in the future. But I've had to analyze many things over the last few years, and I would say over the last few months. I've gone through a lot of soul-searching and agonizing moments, and I've come to see that we have many more difficult days ahead, and some of the old optimism was a little superficial, and now it must be tempered with a solid realism. And I think the realistic fact is that we still have a long, long way to go, and that we are involved in a war on Asian soil, which, if not checked and stopped, can poison the very soul of our nation. I'm not going to say that all of our problems will be solved if the war in Vietnam is ended, but I do say that the war makes it infinitely more difficult to deal with these problems. When a nation becomes obsessed with the guns of war, it loses its social perspective, and programs of social uplift suffer. This is just a fact of history, so that we do.
All right, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. All right, it's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. You understand, it is Monday, the history class where we break it down line upon line, precept upon precept, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. You understand? Y'all already know what today is. As you saw in that little excerpt that brought the class in, well, Martin Luther King admitted, you understand, that the dream that he had was actually a nightmare. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't know your history, you doomed to repeat it, man. You know, like, if the Lord don't give you a vision that's for his people, I mean, I guess that means, you know, that you're a false prophet. Like, how can the Lord give you a vision that's for his people and it includes other people, right? Because Martin Luther King's dream was that, you know, little black boys and little white girls will walk hand in hand. You understand? But in actuality, every time a black man then put his hand with a white woman, he ends up behind bars, incarcerated. You understand? Or putting himself in a vicarious position that he has no business being in, right? So before we even get further into the lesson, you know, breaking down the fallacies, right, of, you know, MLK, right, and how dangerous his vision is, and not only how dangerous his vision is, but the nightmare that his vision brought through, and it's still bringing through to this day, right? Yakubad, you got what I asked for? No sweat. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen for him. Let's see. Go ahead and read. It's taking a little second. Go ahead and read.
Actor and activist Harry Belafonte shared a similar moment about his friend. Midway through the civil rights movement, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. realized that the struggle for integration would ultimately become a struggle for economic rights. Belafonte reflected, "I remember the last time when we were together at my home shortly before he was murdered. He seemed quiet, agitated, and preoccupied, and I asked him what the problem was." According to Belafonte, King responded, I've come upon something that disturbs me deeply.
Mm-hmm.
We have fought hard and long for integration, as I believe we should have, and I know we will win. But I have come to believe that we are integrating into a burning house.
He felt that we are doing what?
Integrating into a burning house.
You understand? He felt that we are integrating into a burning house. You understand? Keep reading.
I'm afraid that America has lost the moral vision she may have had. And I'm afraid that even as we integrate, we are walking into a place that does not understand that this nation needs to be deeply concerned with the plight of the poor and disenfranchised.
Mm-hmm.
Until we commit ourselves to ensuring that the underclass is given justice and opportunity, we will continue to
Perpetuate.
the anger and the violence that tears the soul of this nation.
Mm-hmm.
I fear I am integrating my people into a burning house.
You understand? MLK said he felt that he integrated his people into a burning house, right? Not only that, he said, until we commit ourselves to ensuring the underclass is given justice and opportunity, we will continue to perpetuate the anger and violence that tears the soul of this nation. You understand? Now, what nation is he talking about? Right? He's talking about no. He was talking about tearing the souls of America, right? But America's soul isn't torn, right? Was America's soul torn for Emmett Till? Was America's soul torn for Trayvon Martin? Was America's soul torn for Philando Castile or Alton Sterling? You understand? The only nation whose soul is torn is blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? During the civil rights movement, it was a fight against injustice and inequality, right? With the Blue Berets, which were our Hispanic brethren, you know what I'm saying, and the Black Panthers, right? The UCLC, right? Martin Luther King, right? The NOI and the Nation of Islam, right? All of them thinking that they had the right idea, right? The ideals to free blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans from the oppressive nature that we lived in, right? So Malcolm's idea, right, was to be inflammatory, right? The Black Panthers idea, right, was black power and power to the people and to arm our people, right? To rise up against the pigs, as they so eloquently said, right? And then Martin's ideal was to integrate, right? So integration didn't work. You know what happened the first day integration? I give you a common situation that just recently came out into the news, right? The first day in Alabama, right, that high schools integrated. You understand? It was a famous owner of a football team who was out there while they were spitting on a black girl and throwing all types of things in her face and telling her to go back to where she came from. Jerry Jones, right? Now, the nation's soul didn't look torn. It looked like the nation was together in stopping our nation from coming together. Because our nation was never meant to be together, right? The only nation that was meant to be together was blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans because we are the same people, right? How can your oppressor have mercy upon those that he's oppressing. He's oppressing you for a job, right? He's oppressing you to build his kingdom, right? But Martin Luther King thought he knew better, right? He thought he knew better by, hey, what if we just, we keep trying to do our own thing, right? Because at this time, Black Wall Street already happened, right? Seneca Village has already happened, right? The town that was flooded in St. Louis had already happened, right? The mass murder and the genocide of the Native Americans had already happened, right? The tarring of feathers in Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans had already happened, right? The robbery, right, of Texas, really, Texas to California had already happened. So what is he trying to bring together? The only nation that's terrorized is Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And it's still to this day. When he said that he feared that he led his people into a burning house, is because he lied. When he said that he had a dream, he did not have a dream. He lied. Right? And we're going to bring it out. It's in the Bible. It's prophesied what would happen. And that Martin Luther King would say, I have a dream. I have a dream. But that dream turned out to be a nightmare. It was not a vision from the Lord. All right. Give me Jeremiah 16. I want you to start at Jeremiah 23, and I want you to start at verse 16. I'm gonna go there with you. Jeremiah 23, and you're gonna start at verse 16. Go ahead.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 23, verse 16. He judged the cause of the poor and needy. Then it was well with him. Was not
Jeremiah 23 and 16, That's not 23 and 16.
So like you. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 23 and 16. Verse 16. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, hearken not unto the words of the prophets that prophesy unto you. They make you vain. They speak a vision of their own heart.
They do what?
Speak a vision of their own heart.
You understand? If the scriptures explicitly tell us in Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, right, that we're not supposed to mix with other nations, right? We're not supposed to marry other nations, right? We're not even supposed to make any covenants, right, or agreements with other nations, because those agreements and those covenants, they tie us and yoke us to a nation that is not for our own benefit. See, what Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have to understand is, even though we are a righteous, honorable people, right, these other nations are not. They are a people of contracts and paperwork, right, and legalese, right? All of these civil rights agreements, you understand, the Bill of Rights. Notice they'll have the Bill of Rights, but then the Bill of Rights will have addendums to it, because we need to change our agreement. And if you don't know the terms of the warfare, you're going to lose the battle. Read.
And not out of the mouth of the Lord. Verse 17. They say still unto them that despise me. The Lord hath said, ye shall have walketh after the imaginations of his own heart. No evil shall come upon you.
Now here it is. Now the Lord said, even if you spoke up as a prophet that the Lord didn't ordain, and you spoke after the Lord's own heart, no evil would have came to you. Right? Now, it's unfortunate. I don't wish death on none of my people. Right? But all of these great, quote unquote, civil rights leaders are no longer here. Right? And it's a reason why they're no longer here. Right? And I'm going to pull out the FBI documents to show you why they're no longer here. Right? It's called the Messiah complex. Right? Because what you don't understand is that the FBI knows that a black Messiah is coming. That's why they have the Space Force initiated right now, because they know what's coming. But see, they thought the black Messiah was going to come up through the ranks, through the people, just like he did the first time. Right? But what they had to do, and what's crazy is they used the same tactics they used before. Defamation and defaming of character. Right? To bring up charges against you. But if you'd had, even if the Lord didn't ordain you, if you spoke after the Lord's own heart, no evil would have came to you. But because you led your people after the vainness of your mouth to vain deceit, not only did harm come to you and evil come to you, but evil and harm has come to our people. Keep reading.
Verse 18. For who have stood in the counsel of the Lord and have perceived and heard his word? Who have marked his word and heard it?
You understand? He's saying here, who knows the mind of the Lord? Who knows it? Do you know the mind of the Lord? You don't? Shapar, do you know the mind of the Lord? You don't?
Well, for the understanding that we have to do is our whole duty is to keep his laws, statutes, and commandments.
Is that not after the mind of the Lord? Right? So Shapar, for those that didn't hear online, he said that, well, from what he understands in school, is that the whole what he's quoting is Ecclesiastes, right? Chapter 12, right? That the whole duty of man is to fear the Lord and to keep his commandments, right? But that's the mind of the Lord. The law, statutes, and commandments are after the mind of the Lord. And the crazy part about it is, give me Deuteronomy 28:1, right? This is the crazy part, because he said, if you had been, even if he hadn't ordained you, and you would have spoken and led the people after his own heart, that no evil would have come to you or to the people, right? Because the people follow after their leaders. So what happens to the leaders is what's going to happen to the people. You got that out? Oh, let me pull it up on the screen for him. Deuteronomy 28:1. All right, go ahead.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
You understand? The Lord said that he's going to set you on high above all nations on the earth, right? That you'll be blessed, right? Like people have it misconstrued. They're like, well, I don't necessarily want to. Serving sounds boring. Well, let me ask you a question, right? So, like, if you lived in a palace, didn't want for anything, didn't need meals, didn't need transportation, but your job was to light all the incense and the candles in the palace, would you do it? I mean, you wouldn't have to worry about food, shelter, clothing, right? So you have an office of the court. I mean, your office to light incense and candles, but you got a uniform. You're going to be fly because can't nobody in the court look calmly, right? And then you're inside the castle walls. So that means that you're guarded and that you're protected. Your family is guarded and protected. And all you got to do is light incense censers and candles all day. You wouldn't do it? See, what you got it twisted, right? You think to be free that you're able to do what you want, but you can't. Because even if you're free from your job, you're an entrepreneur, guess what you're not free from? You're not free from the UCC, right? Which is the United Commercial Code. It's United States Commercial Code. So you still got to follow laws. You still got to follow obligations, right? Guess what else you got to follow outside of the Universal Commercial Code? You got to follow the laws of the land. You got to follow the laws of the United States government, and then you got to follow your state law. So I guess you still not free. Okay, now you're a sovereign citizen. Okay, all right. You're outside of the magistrate or the industry or the corporation that's the United States of America. You're a flesh and blood breathing man, but guess what? You're still under God's law. You're still under universal law. You know, cause and effect. You know what I'm saying? The law of gender, the law of polarization, right? The law of causation. No matter how free you think you are, there's still laws to govern you. The Lord said, if you'd have been a man and taught the people to be after my own heart, no evil would have came to you. That's what it's saying in Deuteronomy 28:1. I would have made you high above all nations upon the face of the earth. See, if that's not good enough for you, you are of your father, the devil, man. Because that's not good enough for our oppressor. Right? Our oppressor's like, okay, we are above all the nations upon the face of the earth, but that's not enough. We want to be equal to the stars of heaven. We want to be up there with the Most High in Christ. Is it not enough that that you took the dominion that was given to us over the earth? The earth isn't good enough. We want your seat that gives you the authority to give us dominion. Because that means that we can give dominion to other earths. You have to know your role in order to know how to play. See, Martin forgot his role. Malcolm forgot his role. Marcus Garvey forgot his role. You understand? The Black Panthers forgot their role. Now, I'm not going to take anything away from what these brothers and sisters did during their time, right? Because they did what they thought was right according to the knowledge that they had. But the scripture says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. The scriptures also says oppression makes a wise man mad, but a gift destroys the heart. The gift of integration destroyed not only the heart of Martin Luther King, but it destroyed the heart of our people. We had pride in segregation because we had small towns and communities that were isolated and insulated because we took care of one another. There was industry, commerce, right? Economic rise because we had pride in one another. We had pride in what each and every single one of us did. See, Yakabad, if your father was a mechanic, guess what you grew up and grew to do? To run your father's mechanic shop, right? Sapar, if your father had a cleaning business, guess what you did? You grew up to run your father's cleaning business and to make it bigger and better. I'll give you a perfect example. There's an awesome brother in this school, Officer of 5,000, Officer of Mathia. It's my best friend. I've known him since the 3rd grade. And every day that we would get out of school, he would get pissed because he couldn't come and play, right? Because his father had a cleaning business where his whole family, they had 3 buildings they had to clean every night. He wouldn't get home until midnight after school and still got to do his homework, right? Officer Monty, he hated his dad for it when he was younger. But guess what? He owns his father's cleaning business now. On top of the other industries that he's involved in. And that cleaning business is a well-oiled machine right now. It's able to generate income not only for his family, but his sister's family that was a part of the original cleaning business. Right? This is what happened when you have pride in what your family built. You don't look down upon what your mother or your father built. You improve it. That's what we did. We looked down upon what our forefathers built. We thought what was given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob wasn't good enough. We wanted what Metazariam, you know what I'm saying, Cush, right, and Canaan had. That's what we wanted to look up to. We wanted to look up to what Edom and the Edomites had. We wanted to look up to what the Hagarenes had. We wanted to look up to everything except for what our Father gave us. And what did our Father tell us if we look up to what he gave us? Read. (28:1).
The Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Keep reading.
Verse 2. And all these blessings shall come on
some
thee.
of them.
All these blessings.
A little of them.
All these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee.
Now, see, not majority of the time when we teaching, right, and we say overtake, we talking about the curses, right? And when we say, well, we're gonna read it. Go to 28 and 15.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Right? And our understanding is that these curses are evil. Right? Because in Jeremiah 23, right, he said, if you would have taught the people to be after my own heart, this evil would not have befallen on you. Right? Now, when we teach this part, when we teach about the curses, when we say overtake, what does it mean?
Destroy you.
It means what?
Destroy you.
It means to destroy you, right? But in 28:1, it says the same thing. It says these blessings will overtake thee. So what does that mean? If in 15 the curses means to destroy you, what will the blessings do?
Build you up.
It will build you up. right? When we were separated, we built amongst one another. We built each other up. Do you know that we had our own bus line? Name one black bus line now. There isn't one. There's one bus line for every city. It's not owned by blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? We had our own taxis. Now imagine right now, you know, we got Uber, we got Lyft. That would have been started by a black person or a Hispanic person or a Native American person, because we would have had our own. Because, you know, we always are forward thinkers, because we like to think of how to make our job and our life easier because we're oppressed, right? But any time you try and go after what someone else has, you lose what you have. We have no economic infrastructure whatsoever, right? And they'd be like, well, the Hispanics got an economic infrastructure. No, they don't. Like, if they had an economic infrastructure, why is Venezuela trying to flee their country it's a war-torn country at this point, to come over here? Because of the terrorism that's backed by the United States government between cartels to make sure that there's no economic base in Venezuela, in Mexico, to destabilize the government. Because what you don't know is Venezuela has the richest oil deposits in the world. They don't tell you that part. See, you thinking about Iran and Iraq. No, the richest oil deposits is on our side of the pond. That's why they destabilized Venezuela, to make it to where the people are crying for the United States government to come in and intervene. So when they come in and intervene, guess what? That's American soil. And if that's American soil, guess what? That's America's oil. See, they make things so bad for you that you think that the only choice you have to do is to integrate. Well, I understand, brother. You know, well, off the ties of doc, you know, every time we build something, they take it from you. Okay, so what? That's like you going to the beach. Every time you build a sandcastle, somebody walk through it. So you're not gonna build another one? They stopped making sand when you built your sandcastle? Or that's the only beach with sand that you built your sandcastle on? Well, the tide comes in so heavy, we build it, it washes it away. That's time. You got to roll with the tide, and you got to roll with the times. Seasons. Things change. So do we. But you know what does not change? The Lord and what he promised his people. Let's go back to Jeremiah 23. Where we at? 23 and 18. Hold on, let me go back there with you. We at 19. 19. Go ahead.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 23 and 19.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, a whirlwind of the Lord is gone forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind. It shall fall grievously upon the head of the wicked.
You understand? Oh, I'm sorry. Read that part. Read the whirlwind part again. Verse 19.
I don't count. The whole thing. Behold, a whirlwind of the Lord is gone forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind.
Now what is a whirlwind? It's a what?
Tornado.
You understand? What does a tornado do?
Destroys.
It destroys, right? So not only is it a whirlwind, it's a furious whirlwind, right? Now, it's one thing if you want to do your own thing. If you want to live how you want to live, you want to smoke your weed, you want to sleep with white women, Asian women, you know what I'm saying? Since you want to sleep with a white man, an Asian man, a Arab man, it's one thing if that's what you want to do. But to teach our people that this is okay, it makes the Lord furious. Right? Like, if you don't understand that you're confusing your children, see, you think you just getting love and stability and what you want, but what you're really doing is you're destroying your children. Right? Because what's going to happen is that when you marry someone outside of your nation, your seed is going to be wiped away, because a boy is going to look for a woman that's like his mother, right? Or a child is going to look, a daughter is going to look for a man that's like her father, right? So 3 generations down the line, your lineage, first off, looks nothing like you, because they've taken on the phenotypes of your oppressor. And after a while, they're going to take on the spirit of your oppressor, which is what the Lord prophesied to us about, which is why we were not to intermingle with them and marry with them in the first place. See, we think we know better, but we don't. The Lord warned us about this in Leviticus. You understand? These are the written records of Moses. It was told us way before that, during the time of Shem, to separate from them. Right? Because Shem was saved by his father Noah, and Noah taught him. This is why we were saved. Because we didn't go into the daughters of men. Our line was pure. And that's what we got to get back to. That's what Martin Luther King lost sight of. He lost sight of the purity of our nation. He thought that it would be greatened by us mixing our seed with others. Because in case you didn't know, Martin Luther, first off, his real name isn't Martin, it's Michael. Right? And the FBI used to call him Orgy Mike, because he had a spirit towards white women. They thought Malcolm X was more righteous than him because he was faithful to his wife. And every time Martin went on the road, he was sleeping with different white women. If you would have taught our people to be after the heart of the Lord, no evil would have come to you, nor to our people. Now, what's crazy is we've integrated, and what's the predominantly popular thing? Black men sleeping with white women and white men sleeping with black women. I mean, it's to the point now where it's advertised in commercials, biracial couples. This is the legacy of Martin Luther King, the genocide of your culture and your nationality. Keep reading.
It shall fall grievously upon the head of the wicked. Verse 20. The anger of the Lord shall not return until he have executed and till he have performed the thoughts of his heart. In the latter days, ye shall consider it perfect. Verse 21. I have not sent these prophets.
The Lord said, what?
I have not sent these prophets.
He has done what?
I have not sent these prophets. Yet they reign. I have not spoken to them. Yet they prophesied.
You know what I'm saying? The Lord didn't send Martin. You know what I'm saying? The Lord didn't send Al Sharpton. You understand? The Lord didn't send Jesse Jackson. You understand? The Lord didn't send Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? The Lord didn't send the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The Lord didn't send Farrakhan. You understand? Because all of these people preach another Christ. You understand? And these Christ that they preach are the Antichrist. A defamation of, because Christ was an austere man. Well, hold on, Officer. Malcolm was an austere brother. You know, he didn't trifle around. He didn't let nobody talk to him, nor did the Black Panthers. But did they teach the people to follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God? It's one thing to have pride in your nation, right? It's another thing to be arrogantly foolish. See, the Black Panthers were arrogantly foolish because they thought that the guns that they had meant anything. How can you outgun a gunsmith that manufactures weapons? How can you stockpile more ammunition than a person that manufactures ammunition? Right? See, you have to call down a power that they don't have. That power is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And he's teaching you how to call down the power. First and foremost, it's not through integration. Because as we read at the beginning of the class, Martin realized that he led our people into integration, which was a burning house for our community. I drive through the cities of Houston. There is no thriving Black community. Show me one. Show me one that has their own food pipeline. Show me one. Show me one that has their own thriving grocery store. Show me one. You understand? We're not talking about somebody's just trying to get up and started and off the road. No, we're talking about infrastructure from Black farmers, farm to table. Right? Show me industry of food establishments that's not poisoning our community in the Black and Hispanic community. Like, every Black neighborhood that I've gone to in the city of Houston, just off of something small. Like one of my favorite places to go is Juice Land, right? Where you get to, get all the, the juices with, that give your body everything that it needs. You understand? Every Juice Land, whether you coming from Fifth Ward, the North Side, A-Leaf, Harm Clark, Dead End, Sunnyside, Mo City, not Missouri City. So there's a difference between Missouri City and Mo City, right? It's 30 to 35 minutes driving, right? Like there's not really any Chick-fil-A's in the hood either. You know what I'm saying? And that's not really good food. But you know what's in the hood? Popeyes, Churches, Burger King, McDonald's. You understand? Nothing but grease. We live in food deserts. That's what integration got us. But before integration, I'm talking about thriving. I mean, where's the thriving Black hotel? Right? There's only one that I know of. It's in Hampton, Virginia, right? And they charging our people $400 a night to stay there because it's a resort. It's a Black resort, right? Everything that he fought for took from our nation. He fought to sit on the front of white buses. Guess what got wiped out? The black bus line, right? He fought to go to the finest white schools. Guess what got wiped out? Black schools. Now we're in public schools, right? When we had our own schools, right? And for the most part, HBCUs are starting to get wiped out. We're having a fight to keep those, right? To be, like you said, be able to go to white dining establishments, right? There's not a lot. I mean, there's an uprising of black food establishments now, but for a while, it wasn't that many. To be able to go to a white dentist, guess what? There's not a lot of black dentistries. To be able to go to white hospitals, guess what? We used to have black hospitals. They don't exist anymore. Everything that you fought for to have inclusion in them, it costs you your own. That's what you got to understand. That's the burning house. But guess what? The house is burned down. There's no Hispanic hospital. There's no Hispanic bus line. There is no Hispanic dentistry. You understand? And the only legacy, though I love them for as far as Hispanic restaurants, there's taquerias around here, right? But there are more taco food trucks, right? What are Native American spots at? None. Oh, casinos, where they promote gambling and debauchery, right? Now, I'm not saying that gambling is wrong, because it's not a sin, right? But the lifestyle that they have that goes with it is. The Lord didn't send these prophets, because if they did, we wouldn't be in the state and the condition that we're in. But you fight against the ones that the Lord sends. Hell, the first one that got sent that, most people don't talk about, Abba Bibbins, right? He got murdered by the Nation of Islam because he said that the Quran was a lie, and Elijah Muhammad is leading his people astray, and that he's following a white man, Far Muhammad. They killed him for it. They killed him for saying that we are the true people of the book of the Holy Bible. We are the true descendants of the children of Israel. They killed him for that. See, but that isn't made popularized. But they tell you about Malcolm being assassinated, right? I mean, but Malcolm was killed by his own people. At least they say, but the FBI files came out and your oppressor killed Malcolm. It wasn't even his own people. He's like, well, they got the footage from the ballroom where they were shooting up at him, but the autopsy showed that the shots that killed Malcolm came from up top. Same thing with Martin. The people that he fought so hard to integrate with are the ones that murdered him. Because we appreciate what you did. Now we got your people. We don't need you no more. But we need every single one of our brothers, every single one of our sisters, because brotherhood is the weapon. Sisterhood is the weapon. We are stronger together than segregated. We were segregated and integrated in the community, right? And now we're integrated in their community and separate and segregated amongst our own people. Every time your brother walk by, you mean facing. You know what I'm saying? What this nigga looking at? You know what I'm saying? What this be looking at? Who this brother think he is? Oh, he think he better than everyone. We crabs in a bucket. That's what integration got us. Keep reading.
Verse 22. But if they had stood in my counsel and had caused my people to hear my words, then they should have turned them from their evil ways and from the evil of their doings. Verse 23. Am I a God at hand, saith the Lord, and not a God afar off? Verse 24. Can any hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him?
Now, they got all of these statues, right, of MLK, right? He's such a great man, right? But how many things did he do in darkness is now coming to the light? I mean, even today, new things are coming out about him. Like, if you lie to the people, all you're doing is delaying their pain. I'd rather tell you the truth and you be mad at me. That madness will be there for a short second. You'll be angry for a short second, but you never say I lied to you. But see, me lying to you can set you up to get you killed in the long run. Because here you are thinking that everything is okay. You know, hey, Officer Tazadak, I smell smoke. Oh, don't worry about it. Hey, Officer Tazadak, it's getting a little hard to breathe in here. Hey, don't worry about it. Everything's okay. Hey, Officer Tazadak, it's getting a little hot in here. It's getting hard to breathe. I can't really see. Oh, man, don't worry about it. Everything's all good. Then all of a sudden you burn to death. Like I kept lying to you when you saw the warning signs. Like black people didn't want to go into these white institutions. They're like, why would we go somewhere where they don't want us? You understand? Would you go into a restaurant that you know that you're going to get bad service from? Black people hate terrible service. We're going to act upon food. And then we're going to let you know about it. Why would you want to go somewhere that you're not welcome? But that's what you desire. We think that the world should appreciate us. We think that the world should acknowledge us. Asian people don't give a damn if the world acknowledges them or appreciate them. They work and send the money home. Whether it's to their community, the Chinatown, in wherever they live, or back home to China. Same thing with Nigerians, Ethiopians, you know what I'm saying, Kenyans, Ghanaians. They work hard here. They could give a damn how they feel about them here. They sending that money back home. They don't care if they got to drive taxis, if they got to clean floors. They don't care because they know that the money they make here is more than quadruple the money they're making at home. So they make the money here, send it home. They come here, work for 30 to 40 years, go home, and their family live like kings. They can care less what you think about them because they do it for their family. I just wish my people had the same mindset. You too busy worried about stunting on your brother. You understand? Shining on your brother. Looking down upon your sister. Talking down upon your sister. When they talking down and looking down on all of us. Because it's like, why can't they get it? I mean, they have the economic base. They have billionaires now. Being a millionaire is something that's attainable for them. But yet they still cannot pull together and have an economic base. It's because we've been led into a burning house. Go back to Jeremiah. Keep reading.
Saith the Lord, do not I fill heaven and earth? Saith the Lord. Verse 25. I have heard what the prophet said. The prophecies lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed.
Saying what?
I have dreamed.
Saying what?
I have dreamed. I have dreamed.
You understand? The Lord is saying that the prophets lies, saying that I have dreamed. What did Martin say? I have a dream. I have a dream. But that dream was not of the Lord. So it became a nightmare for the people of the Lord. Now, give me let's pull out these FBI documents. Let me see. All right. I think you might still have this in your messenger. When I sent the documents, the article from about black national groups. Let me send it to you. Let me see. Yakaba. There you go. Boom. And you know what? Hold on. Here we go. Save. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Boom. Text message. Send. All right, here it comes. All right, so I'm gonna pull it up on the screen. All right, so what we're about to read is an FBI file on black national groups. All right, when you got it, go ahead and read it. You got it? Go ahead. My phone just did something crazy.
Nationalist activity and in
No, start from the bottom. So this is article. This is Airtel to SAC Albany counterintelligence program for black nationalist hate groups. Read. No, start at the beginning. We're talking about nationalist activities.
Nationalist activities and interacting in counterintelligence to coordinate this program. This agent will be responsible for the period progress letters being requested, but each agent working this type of case should participate in the formulation of counterintelligence operations. Goals.
All right, so read goals.
Goals. For maximum effectiveness of the counterintelligence program and to prevent wasted effort, long-range goals are tested set. One, prevent the coalition of militant black nationalist groups in unity. Oh, Salakia, sir, I gotta make it bigger.
All right, so it says prevent the coalition of militant black national groups in unity. There is strength, a truism that is no less valid for all its entities an effective coalition of black nationalist groups, right to be first step toward the real Mau Mau in America, the beginning of the true black revolution. So they know that the coming together of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the moment that you stop caring about what they care about and care about your people, that's the real black revolution. That's the real freedom. The freedom is pretending they don't exist. Right? Because if they don't exist, they're erased. Because what you don't know is their entire economic infrastructure is backed upon you. That's why they're trying to push this whole metaverse and digital currency on our community. Because they know if they can get us to buy into it, they have a base and a foundation for the infrastructure for their industry. Because believe it or not, we buy more than any community in the world. And we don't have anything to export for it. We are a people that just consume, consume, consume. But if we stop consuming what they pushing and start consuming what we're pushing towards one another, we'll build the kingdom overnight. And they know this. This is goal number one, to stop us from pooling together. Now let's go to goal number two.
Prevent the rise of a Messiah.
Prevent the what?
Rise of a Messiah.
You understand? They know what's coming. You understand? The operative number two is to prevent the rise of a Messiah. This is why they can't have righteousness going throughout the earth. Read.
Prevent the rise of a Messiah who could unify and electrify the militant black nationalist movement.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm X might have been such a Messiah. He is the matriarch,
The martyr.
the martyr of the movement today.
Now, they said that Malcolm could have been the Messiah, but we killed him, right? Because they know all it takes is the right words to electrify and unify the people. Because they know what the scripture says. You have to be transformed by the renewing of your mind from the washing of the word. You understand? Because they know the right words will change lives. It will electrify you. It will put the battery, the charge in your back, the charge in the nation to get us to move. Read.
Martin Luther King and Stokely Carmichael and Elijah Muhammad all aspire to this position. Elijah Muhammad is less of a threat because of his age.
Mm-hmm.
King could be a very real contender for this position should he abandon his supposed
obedience
to white liberal doctrines, nonviolent, and embrace black nationalism.
You understand? They said Martin Luther King would have been successful if A, he removed the mindset of nonviolence, and B, he removed his love for obedience to the white infrastructure and promoted black nationalism. This is what your enemy knows. Your enemy knows what needs to be done for us to come out of the oppression that we're in. But no, you want to go along to get along. Billy's not that bad. Okay, but let Billy stay over there with Bob and Brian. You know what I'm saying? You come over here with Kendrick, you know what I'm saying, and Tavion and Bredrick. You understand? Come over here with Jose and Paco and them. You understand? Let them stay over there and we stay over here. See, and what's crazy is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we're called a black nationalist hate group. You understand? Because they know what we preach, what we teach. We teach Black, Hispanic, and Native American nationalism because we're a nation. You understand? We're a nation that the entire world depends upon. We're the machine. We're the engine. We're the heartbeat. We're the thing that pumps blood and life into this nation, into this world. And if that's that, matter of fact, that's why they shut down that clubhouse room with Kanye, because he was talking to Captain Tazariak. And they knew if they would have let that room go on longer, that he would have electrified. You understand? And charged Kanye into real Black nationalism. Because he was asking him the real questions. You understand? One of the most important questions, because Kanye admitted that he had an addiction to pornography, right? And Captain Tazariak asked him such an amazing question. He was like, well, since you've admitted that you had an addiction to pornography, do you think that that is why you were pulled to marry a woman outside of your race? Because you had a fetish for them, because you were watching pornography. You understand? So it's a fetish for you. You understand? Now, imagine if Captain Tazariak had 45 minutes to an hour of building on questions like that with Kanye. And I'm talking about the way Kanye was talking with Cap. He was enthralled. He was listening. He was engaged. He was engaged so much when he answered a question to Cap that he was like, well, you know, I know I kind of made a joke and it seemed like it wasn't that funny to you, you know, so I want to make sure that you're able to get what you want out of this interview. So ask me another question, brother. See, this is what happens when you stand in righteousness. Because foolishness is not funny. It's not something to laugh at. So I'm gonna laugh that my brother has a pornography addiction. You understand? I'm gonna laugh at the fact that our brothers are getting trumped up charges for fetishing white women. Because if they come after you and you deny them, they're gonna lie on you anyway and get you caught up. This is why you shouldn't be nowhere near them. Now, if you got to work with them, that's one thing. But when they be like, hey, buddy, what? Let's go out. Let's go have a couple of drinks. For you parents out there that got your kids going to these white schools, well, mom, Brian and Billy, they're having a sleepover. Can I go over? Hell no. Because what's going to happen is your son and your daughter going to end up like that little girl that went to that sleepover and she just mysteriously ended up dead. And when you look at the picture the night before, she was the only black girl at that sleepover. You understand? Or that black boy that was found rolled up in the practice mats in the school. Because they want to hang out and they want to get along. You don't belong to them, and you need to teach your children that. You don't belong. They will never accept you. Okay, Billy might be cool, but his daddy don't like you. There was this guy when I first came into the truth. this guy named Robbie. I worked at Dave and Buster's, putting one of my jobs waiting tables, putting myself through college. Every time I came home from summer, I worked at Dave and Buster's. Robbie, he was a bartender when I first started, became a bar manager, then moved and opened up his own bar. We were cool because we were work associates, right? So we were friends on Facebook, and he saw my transformation coming into the truth and what I was talking about, our oppressors, right? He was like, man, I'm not a devil. I mean, we're friends. I mean, we've hung out. And I was like, we're friends, Robbie? Well, Robbie, you've never invited me to your house, but we're friends. Robbie, you never introduced me to your parents, but we're friends. Robbie, I know you go fishing every weekend with your buddies, but I've never been, but we're friends. We're not friends, Robbie. We're associates. We worked together. We said cool things in passings to one another at work. You know what I'm saying? We took a shot at the end of the shift at work. And that was back when I was a detriment to society, smoking weed and selling drugs as well. So I wasn't in my right mind. But we're not friends. I even sold you paraphernalia, Robbie. We're not friends. I know who my friends are. My friends are my people. There's safety amongst my people. When I'm with your people, I am not safe. You understand? When you're at work on the job, you are not safe. That's why when you're at work, you have anxiety. That's why you kill yourself at the job, because you feel you are not safe because you're working behind enemy lines. See, when you work for a Black-owned company, it's a different feeling. I've had that opportunity. I was an executive chef for a Black-owned restaurant. It just feels different when you come to work. There's no anxiety. I mean, there's stress with every job, right? But there's no anxiety, right? You don't have that feeling of, am I gonna lose my economic base? Because you're dealing with your people. You feel safe when you're with your people. So that's what we got to get back to. Black, Hispanic, and Native American nationalism. Our nation first. Because they think about theirs first. Chinese think about theirs first. Nigerians think about theirs. Ghanaians think about theirs. Iranians think about theirs. Iraqis think about theirs. Sudanese think about theirs. Why can't you think about yours? And the thing is, in this affidavit they were reading from the FBI, they know if you think about yours, it will disrupt their infrastructure. And their number two goal, their number one goal is to stop. That's why you can't loiter. That's why when all the corner stores, liquor stores, grocery stores in the hood, outside it says no loitering. That used to be a real law. If more than 2 Black people were gathered together, they would arrest you because they think that you're conspiring. Right? Even now, if it's a group of Black people walking together, the cops gonna pull over. They're gonna pull you over walking. What are y'all doing? What are y'all getting into? We're walking. Where are you walking to? Why are all of y'all congregated together? What's going on? See, because a symbol of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans congregated together with no strife or conflict, it's a threat. Because that means you guys are unifying to go do something, to go get something done. And their job is to police you to stop it from happening. Because they think you're a gang. Well, you know what? We are a gang. And it's time for us to stop ganging up on one another and gang up on them. Now, when I say this, I'm not inciting violence, right? I'm inciting knowledge and wisdom. Because when you have knowledge of self, you have love of self. You care for self. And guess what the first two commandments are? To fear the Lord thy God with all thy mind, with all thy heart, and with all thy soul. The second is likened unto it, to love thy brother as thyself. So if I'm taking care of myself at an optimum level, what you think I want for you? That's Black, Hispanic, and Native American nationalism. That's what Martin fought against. That's why on every MLK Boulevard across the nation, it's niggas, spicks, and savages fighting against one another. You understand? You want to know how? Drugs is being sold right now on MLK Boulevard, destroying our people, segregating our people. You understand? The liquor stores on MLK Boulevard, you understand, poisoning our people. You understand? It's a wino, you understand, and a drunk sitting in front of a liquor store right now on MLK Boulevard. You understand? The food spots on MLK Boulevard are poisoning our people. You understand? The legacy of MLK and MLK Boulevard, you understand, is destruction for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And they made a street to let you know what type of burning house you live in. You don't believe me? Google any MLK Boulevard across the United States and you look at that street. I guarantee you that street is in dilapidated conditions. It's in a dilapidated community with dilapidated resources, with a dilapidated economic infrastructure. Because that's what integration got us. That's what the dream that he had that was a nightmare got us. But it's time to wake up. In the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we have the answer. This is how you get out of the burning house that MLK put us in. But you have to fight. And the first step is getting angry. Because the scripture says oppression makes a wise man mad. Not to sin in your anger, but to be angry. Be angry at the condition in which your people live in, that they thrive, that they're not thriving in, that they're surviving in. You understand? Like, it makes me upset that my brothers, including myself, have to work 2 to 3 jobs just to make ends meet. Sapar, how many hours do you work on a weekly basis?
42.
You understand? And you barely making it, right?
Right. It's always something.
You understand? Yakabad, how many hours you work a week? That boy said too many. How many hours you work a week?
A lot. Saying about 40 and stuff. About a week ago. Well, this last couple weeks, I had over 100 hours. And
do you mind if I share something about your situation?
Go ahead.
You understand? This brother said he worked over 100 hours. You understand? This brother works that hard and breaks his back to pay rent for a room. Not an apartment, not a house, but a room. That's what integration got us. You know what I'm saying? We work 18 to 20 hours a day to afford double meats from Burger King. You know what I'm saying? Though those flame broiled, you know what I'm saying, double meats smell amazing, It's poison. You understand? For the most part, it ain't even real food. If you go into KFC, we talked about it last class, man. It's scientific chicken nuggets. You eating in a scientific experiment. You understand? You go to the white side of town, you don't see Burger Kings like that. You know what I'm saying? You barely see McDonald's. You see restaurants that you ain't never seen before on your side. You feel me? And I'm talking about fast food restaurants. Like what's the name of the spot? Ain't no Jimmy John's in the hood. Ain't no Jason's Delis in the hood. Ain't no Firehouse Subs in the hood. You know what I'm saying? But you know what's in the hood? Subway. Because it's all processed meats. Anything, ain't no Schloshkis in the hood. Ain't no Panera Breads in the hood. Like, think about it. Ain't none of that on MLK Boulevard. You know what I'm saying? That boy said American Deli. I ain't even heard of that. You know what I'm saying? But you fought for integration. And they don't even feel it necessary. Like, even though your community supports, because like I mean, every black person I know got the Chick-fil-A app. You know what I'm saying? You fund their businesses, but their businesses are not in your community. In Houston, we have something. It's one of my favorite grocery stores to shop in. H-E-B means here everything is better. Yeah, that's what H-E-B stands for. It means here everything is better, right? But in the hood, they don't give you H-E-B. They give you a subsidiary. They give you Joe V's, right? It's a subsidiary of H-E-B. You don't get the things that H-E-B has, like you get the lower grade things, right? So, and that's their way of saying that H-E-B is proactive in lower income communities, right? The one H-E-B that they had in a black community, the one that was in Third Ward, is closed now. Yeah, it's closed now. You know what I'm saying? It's a hub for shipping, right? And you can only do grocery pickup from there. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So, but Billy's okay. Brian's great. Susie's cool. Karen's awesome. This is what integration has gotten us. Integration in their nation has us segregated in our own. So in order for us to be integrated in our own nation, we have to segregate from theirs. In Revelations, it says, come out of her, my people, so you be not partakers of their plagues. Every plague that comes from them is killing us. You have to know that. You have to understand that. The only way that we heal, you got to take the knife out your back. And that knife that came in our back came from shaking their hand and making deals with them. Anybody got any questions? All right, no sweat. With that, we're gonna pass the class over to Trooper Yakubad. Turn the camera from him, Sapar. Yeah, March 5th.
We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, They are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has a particular interest in a person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. The book of Numbers, chapter 18, 21. The book of Malachi, chapter 3, 8 through 10, means 10th in the Hebrew, Masharah. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives to the Treasury Department or the teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, non-mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations, Purim, 14th day and the 15th day of the 12th month, 5th of March and 6th of March, 2023, the book of Esther, chapter 9, 20 through 31. If anyone wants to become a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. These are security announcements.
All right, with that, Amajim, which means to stand, Sar, which means to turn. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer first in Hebrew, then in English. Repeat after me. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malak Wakah, Taba'ah, Ratazayakah, Hayah, Aisha, Baratazah, Kawah, Hayah, Bashemayim, Natalanawa, Lacham, Call, Yawam, Wasalaknawa, Kabawaknawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawakinawa, Wala'ah, Kabiayanawa, Banasai 1, Abal, Hawashayanawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha Allah, Wahata Para, La Awalumium, Aman. In English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Sar, turn and face the front. Go give a courtesy salute to the brothers and to the sisters. Men of Israel, Mani Shabbat, Maju, Rock, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah Brakatah, Yadabatah, Sar, turn and face the sisters. Men of Israel, Mani Shabbat, Maju, Rock, Yahweh Shemar Adab Bashim Yahweh Shah, Yadabatah, dismiss.